Carla, you and I have had no sleep whatsoever, but is it sinking in? Yeah, this is your domain, this is now your constituency.
Yeah, it's not really sunk in yet, to be honest. When the exit poll came out and it looked like from that we might get this seat, I was quite cool, calm and collected for the first hour or so. I was just getting on with getting ready to go to the count, even skimming my email inbox. And then about an hour afterwards, I think the knowledge that I might get elected MP got from my brain to my heart and my gut, and I suddenly felt rather queasy. But yeah, I'm really, really elated with this result, not just in Bristol, but nationally. We've quadrupled our Green representation in the House of Commons, and we've had a fantastic increase in the Green vote share across the country. I think it's about 1.9 million people voted Green in the UK, and in Bristol the Greens came second in every other constituency other than this one, which is totally beyond my wildest dreams, to be honest.
And narrowly missed out on getting the Hallfield by-election as well.
Yeah, indeed. I think the direction of travel in the city is clear. People have been saying to me for a long while that Bristol felt like a Green city that ought to have a Green-led council and a Green MP, and now the voters of Bristol have made both happen within a matter of weeks of each other.
So we've known each other since your days as a councillor. Now you're an MP. Is this journey going to continue? What next for Carla Denyer?
I'm not sure where it would go next. I'd love obviously to have Greens in government at some point, but for now my focus will be on representing the people of Bristol Central and holding the incoming Labour government to account, pushing them to be a bit more bold and brave, which I think is what the majority of Bristolians want to see from a government.
It seems to me that my colleagues in the national media might perhaps not be pointing their viewfinders on Greens as much as potentially could be deserved. I think that reforms had quite a lot of focus, but do you feel that that enough attention is being paid to what the Greens have done?
Well, I think during this short campaign, this 6 weeks since the election was called, we have had, as Greens, a bit more media coverage, because the media outlets are required to give equal coverage during the short campaign. And what's the result of that been? Well, it's been a massive increase in support for the Greens that has enabled us to get this result. So I hope that the different broadcasters will take that as a clear signal that perhaps they should be giving proportionate coverage to the Greens all year round. And I think the case for that is ever stronger now. We have the same number of MPs as Reform, and we have several orders of magnitude more councillors. I think they have 10, we have over 800. And so I very much hope the broadcasters will see this result and give Greens more of a chance on TV, on radio, to put our case, because the electorate benefits when politics is more diverse in terms of the background of the politicians and in terms of their political viewpoints. And so a Labour majority, a large Labour majority as we have, could be a problem because they don't have that accountability. And that's why our job as a newly elected group of Green MPs will be really important, to hold them to account, to support them on areas where we think they're going in the right direction, but not being afraid to speak up where we think they perhaps aren't being brave enough.
So we're strolling through Bristol, we're running on fumes at the moment. What's number one on your to-do list for this great city that we call home?
Well, I got into politics to tackle the climate crisis. My background is in engineering. I came to Bristol 15 years ago to work in the renewable energy sector, but I realised that the barrier to the UK dealing with its carbon emissions wasn't the technology that I was working on, it was the political will of those in charge. And so I got involved in trying to get Greens elected, and then one thing led to another and I got talked into standing for election myself. So climate change, tackling climate change is definitely top of my agenda and is something that a lot of Bristolians care about, but also things like the housing crisis. I've been a housing campaigner my whole political life, around 10 years, and it's clear that the housing crisis is biting hard in places like Bristol, where house prices, especially in the private rented market, are spiralling out of all connection to incomes. And that's where I think the Greens' offer on housing policy has really struck a chord in Bristol and across the country, that it's not just about the sheer number of homes you build, but what kind of homes you build, in what places, at what prices. And so I will be pushing nationally for the government to give local councils the power to keep rents under control in the private rented sector, to get the funding and the ability to borrow within prudential limits to get more council housing built and buy more off the market, and to have a little bit more influence on the kind of housing that private sector developers build, so that it's actually meeting local need. And those are areas where I don't think Labour Party is really offering the solutions, especially on rent controls, a policy that they rode back on. And so hopefully having a few of us Greens in Westminster can push them back in the right direction.
You booked your ticket to Paddington from Temple Meads yet?
Not quite yet, that's on the to-do list for tomorrow.
Well look, Carla Denyer, congratulations. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you on day one. And I think someone's ready for a selfie, so I better let you greet your fans.
Great.
Thanks, Carla.
Cool. Thank you,
Thanks
thanks
so
very
much.
much.